Hello guys, this is Noor. I'm here doing a 69 subscribers Q&A. Basically, I've got a lot of questions for you that's been asked, but I'm going to start off with some of the best ones. First off, Insomnia asked me, how big is... Massive. Here's a picture. DH asked, do you like me? No. What's the best thing you've ever done after taking meds? This was asked by Scotty. Well, for any of you who don't actually know, I actually take medication for my hands. As they hurt a lot. But the problem was with the meds is that you're supposed to take them like once a day, something like that. The problem is that they don't actually work if I take them once a day. Like they don't actually relieve any pain. So what I resulted in doing was just dealing with it for about 6 days of the week, and then on one day of the week I'd just take all 12. And I go a bit stupid. I just get high as fuck, basically, and it's brilliant. But the best thing I've ever done, it really depends on how you would take it. We have something in Newcastle, even though it is sort of spreading across the country at the minute, called the zombie walk. Essentially, you just turn up at a certain area, dress as a zombie, and then a load of photographers come and take photos of you and all the zombies together. And that's like it's a big thing. Like I think 20,000 people or something will turn up occasionally. But I decided to take the meds on that day because I thought, you know what, if I'm going to be a zombie, I may as well be high as fuck. And started walking along, and I was just sort of in a dreamboat, you know, staring at the sky, just making noises. And I mean, everyone else is making noises anyway, trying to pretend to be a zombie, but I was literally making noises of just drooling slightly. And with vodka. Never ever mix alcohol in meds. but yeah, we got to I think it's called the gate, something like that. The Sage, that's it. And I'll leave a picture. I'll actually get a picture for this because you can see it. But on this little bit of a hill, people were starting to climb up and stuff like that and pretend to be crawling towards people and blah 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 for the cameras. And I decided on a neck more vodka. So this taxi driver turns up, just trying to get through, poor fucker. And everyone surrounds it, and loads of people are taking photos of us banging on the windows, and the taxi driver's basically just screaming out, we're going, get off, fuck off, I'm going to bat you to hell. This goes on for about 50 seconds, and, the taxi driver's just sticking his fingers up, weren't we? And me and my best mate's little brother decided to jump straight onto the taxi roof, thinking, we'll just sit here for a bit, it looks good for the camera. At that moment, everyone decided to leave the taxi. And the taxi man obviously sped off, as you would, really. And I kind of was going along at 30, 40, 50 miles an hour before my brain realised this is going a bit quick. And at that moment I thought, I'm going to have to jump off. Now the roads are actually cobbled. So that wasn't pleasant. That really wasn't pleasant. So I kind of fell off, and my arse hurt like hell. Felt like I'd been raped about 7 times, frequently. But one thing I did realise that day is never to mix alcohol and meds, because I went fucking off the rails later on. I was trying to parkour between cars. Yeah. And then I ran up the street pretending I was a dinosaur. And I have absolutely no idea why. Because from what I can remember of that night, we weren't even talking about dinosaurs. Because, sometimes when you're mortal, conversation comes up and you think, I'm a T-Rex. But it came out of nowhere, and there I am in the middle of the road, pretending I'm a dinosaur, screaming at cars that had given us the wanker sign. That was fun. So yeah, I've got 3 questions down. God, this is easy. Riggy. Why do you cyberbully Twine so much? Fuck off. Technotes, do you like ravioli? Yes. Yeah. Let's go with that. Yeah, I do. Titan of Racer. If you can do something better to the next game, what would it be? Make it good. That's it. Make it actually decent. Because I think the whole problem with the Codemasters F1 games, right, like you go F1 2010, which you can sort of forgive the glitches and the bugs because it's their first game of trying to make it. I can forgive them for that, and frankly, I enjoyed 2010. I did actually like it. F1 2011, I've played very little of it, and I didn't really care for it. I found it just felt too shit. 2012, despite having ridiculous bugs, like that, the fact that you can't go down the straight without it sort of searing to the left and right, that is a bit shit. And obviously the lag bubble. Honestly, if they'd have probably got rid of the glitches that still bug us today, I think F1 2012 would still remain the best game, because with no assist it was actually hard, and that's kind of a good thing because, well, let's just say F1 2014 with no assist is pretty damn easy. And 2013 as well, I guess that was pretty piss. It's like all you've really got to do if you want to nail no assist is just practice. Get a little bit, it could be like half an hour and you'll still do fine. Because at the end of the day, it isn't really about one lap pace. You can qualify dead last. You know, not that far off the pace, but I don't know. But what would it be? I'm trying to give you a proper answer rather than just a, you know, they're all shit and therefore it's all bad. What I would probably do to make it better, because there's so many things you could do. I mean, this is despite all the obvious stuff. Make it more realistic. That would probably be it. I would make it more realistic, because at the moment the game's just too arcadey. Like, to me, there's no real difference between Grid Autosport, which is a complete arcade game, and F1, other than a couple of menu and setup changes that really don't make that much of a difference. Apart from that, I definitely fixed the pad versus wheel problem, but that I can't really be too annoyed about that because it isn't like that's been going on for ages. The problem is that when Cody's, they obviously have not tested this game. It's just so apparent. Like any Codemasters employee who says they tested it didn't. Full stop. There's no way it could let something as obvious as the pad versus wheel thing go unnoticed. Like the sheer amount of understeer the pad gets versus the amount of traction the pad gets versus a wheel. Where to the point that it's unfair really on both of them. There's an equal number of traction zones and turning high speed corners, shall I say, but so it is kind of unfair on the pair of them. Because I think the pad should have the steering of the wheel but also the traction of the wheel rather than the other way around. That to me is a bit shit and makes the game really, really boring. And I just literally completed a league race at Monaco and I was trying desperately because I wasn't pushing, but it was awful. It was a bowler. That's about the limit of it. Just make it more realistic. Apart from all the obvious things like the no cyberpunk glitches, auto spin curves, which are still in the game, bollards that destroy your car, sticky barriers that are all over the damn place. They're not just at Monaco. And then there's the lag problems, the desync issues, the pit stop glitches, the AI, which are just appallingly shit. The fact that I can go around Monza and win in a Caterham. That's it. That sums everything up about the AI. They are really shit. Now, strange enough, Can't Touch This has just asked me, do you think Cody's will make a good F1 game? That one's hard. The thing is with Cody's is that they've given really no hope. I don't think anyone's really got any faith in Cody's now. I mean, 2013 was, I don't know, like, for me, Nebula Season 2 was probably the best season of racing I've ever had. But it wasn't the game that really made it that way, it was more the drivers that I was against. The game on itself was dreadful. And it was, Cypod glitches everywhere, desync everywhere. And I'm not, F1 2013 is better than F1 2014. So of course, we've went from F1 2012, which had loads of lag bubbles, Cypod glitches still, loads of problems that absolutely just destroy any confidence or real patience with the game. And then you jump straight to F1 2014, which is even worse. How can you have confidence in them as game designers? Like, I don't want to hate on Cody's, I just want them to make a decent game. Because in total, people have probably bought it. There's been people out there who have bought F1 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014 on the first day of release. And what was it on release day, like 30 quid? So let's just go on the fact that every game was 30 quid. They're going to spend 120 to 130, maybe more, on 5 games, 2010, 2011, 2012. Yeah. That just haven't really been up to standard. Like, the only one that's ever really been up to standard is 2010, because you could give them more leeway with that. But Cody's are just so lazy, they can't be asked to fix it. So yeah, I don't think they will make a decent game. I have absolutely no confidence in these guys at all. I really don't. So, fuck them. Because I know for a fact that, like, mixing up my words here, but if Cody's don't make a game, a decent game, and it is just literally another reskin, which is pretty much like it has been every other time, if it is just a reskin, there'll be no leagues going on F1 2015, apart from really shit ones, which aren't professional at all. I'm just downright refusing to make or admin leagues on F1 2015 if it is just a pile of shit. Because frankly, I think my league now is just, it's at an end of the patience. We've all had enough of how bad the game is. So I think AOR will probably be in the same boat, to be honest. I think everyone will. No one's going to want to participate on the same thing for the 6th time in a row, actually, because we're all sick of it. Like, we have so many unattendances that aren't really down to the fact that the people are lazy. It's just the fact that they don't want to play. Because why would you want to play a game that's appalling? Like, I'm ultimately playing because it's more loyalty. This is my league, I'm expected to turn up and not race for the fact that the game is appalling. So I did that at the start of the season. I said I'm not buying the game because it looks like a pile of shit, and then I got it for £7, played it, and I was like, could this actually be doable? Because nothing to me was really good enough. So next question, Aki, which part of Great Britain do you Britain? You said Britain. It says Britain here. Alright. Britain, do you live? And how is life there? Okay. I live in Newcastle upon Tyne. Technically a place called West McSeaton. That's like 10 mile away. But it's better to say that because no one knows where West McSeaton is. So I'm living in the northeast of England. That's my accent is quite odd. But luckily I'm not like Scott. I don't have that proper rough Geordie accent that, you wouldn't understand for the life of you. And how is life there? Life there is odd. Newcastle is very much a working class town, but I like that compared to the middle or high class people, because working class people work hard, as they do, working class in the title. They graft a lot. Graft is just a term for working hard. And also they're just so reliable. Like, I work in 2 pubs at the minute in the local area because I'm doing 2 jobs, and everyone works their arse off in their line of work, and they're all really lovely to each other, and it's like, if you're part of that sort of, they know you're a friend for life kind of thing. We obviously have the bad areas. Like, there's a place called Benwell. That's oh, don't ever go there. It's awful. It's just full of drugs, loads and loads of drugs, and loads of people who stab you because you've got a packet of biscuits. That's the kind of people they are. So, but I do like it here. But then again, I live nowhere near Benwell. West McSeaton's full of old people, so it's, you know, calm. Okay, Lewis, are you getting a wheel? No, I'm not getting a wheel. As stated with the whole medication thing, right, I have nerve damage in both hands. Now, it causes a hell of a lot of pain, right, which is why manual was such a difficult thing for me to do. Because, for me, racing on itself was painful, and it was really painful. But trying to get the hands to do anything else was even more painful. And the less pain, the better, in my view. But I knew that I was never going to improve. I'll pick up the pace unless I did that. And sure enough, my pace improved straight away when I finally nailed it. Because I think I finally nailed it now. Because I was doing the sort of thing with my thumb to change gear, because obviously A and X, where I was sort of hovering my thumb over the A and X button, and then I would just sort of move it backwards to change up and downwards. But that actually hurt too much because I was stretching the thumb out. So what I did instead is I just hold it back and just change up and down respectively, like with it held back and only come forward when needed. That did help a lot. I've also got into the habit of taking meds before the race as well, so I'm not in too much pain. Yeah. As to how the nerve damage came about, because I think that is a question coming up. I used to be a go-kart racer ages ago, and I got advanced into single-seaters. And I was doing a shakedown session, essentially just a test, and a guy, there was like a tricky left-right sector, and I went to pull up the left, but this guy was doing his first laps, so we tried hoofing it. He thought it was a left, when in truth the track went right, so he buried it up my inside, and obviously with the curvature of the back of the car, he went up the car and landed, and I obviously put my hands on my helmet, because that's what you do when you see a car burying over there, and my right hand was completely crushed into my helmet. So it was basically just crushed in between a helmet and a car, and my left hand was mangled in the suspension. So, yeah, for about 2 years I couldn't actually do anything. I couldn't write, I couldn't clean myself, I couldn't do absolutely nothing. But taken care of a lot. And then eventually had surgery and sort of just reconnected the tissues, the nerve tissue, and I started to get movement. But, oh my god, the pain. The first night was probably the worst. That was just, didn't sleep for 3 days because I was just in so much pain. The only ironic thing about it is that I was actually right-handed up until the accident. I'm now completely ambidextrous because my hands don't. I've never had to write. I've never had to written and wrote anything for 2 years, so my hands forgot which was dominant. So there I was writing 2 notes at the same time with both hands. It was bizarre. Back to a really crap question now. Initialization. Are you gay? Get fucked. I'm engaged. Red eye. What is the first thing you think of when you hear the word red eye? Not you. Okay, how long... What the fuck? Kodak, how long is it gonna take to make people know that the world is dying by their own hands? What? What? No. There, told you. Senna-esque. Do you love twine? Get fucked. Peck, are you a virgin? Mate, I don't think you have any right to ask that, considering you are 14. I'm 22 and engaged to a girl for 3 years, so no, I've not had sex at all. unseen. Why don't you use a wheel? Answer that already. What will you do for your 70th sub video? Jack shit. Eyes amusing. What got... Oh god, he's got a few. What got you racing? What did get me racing? Oh yeah, I was bored. Yeah, well, I've always loved F1. Been watching it for years. I don't know if you mean online racing or racing in real life. Okay, I'm gonna go with online racing because I don't think not a lot of people know that I did race in real life. Online racing, I don't know. I bought F1 2012 completely randomly, and I was trying to essentially just. I wanted to be good. No, I wasn't wanting to be champion or anything. I just wanted to be good. Like sort of a decent points finisher, I think is the best way to describe it, really. So since I loved F1, I just came to the conclusion, let's buy the recent F1 game. So bought F1 2012, and ironically, this is where my debut started with this entire league. Well, I joined Nebula, raced, and at the first race I thought, this is shit. Almost quit. But I think mainly if you look into the psychological aspect of it, I only got into racing games because I wanted to be a racer, and I still do to this day. I'm still hoping that the team that I raced for in Formula Renault comes back to us and says, look, you can join, that your hands are fixed, but I doubt that. Okay, next question from Eyes Amusing again. What was your first racing game? First game was Medieval. Fucking loved that bloody game. It was fantastic. Medieval is an old PS1 game. It came out like 1998. It's set in the 1600s. No, the 1300s. That's the one, 1300. And it's about a knight who falls against an evil wizard. I think that's the one it is. Who raises an army of the dead to fight him, and he's taken out in the first battle with an arrow to the eye. And that game to me as a kid was terrifying because I was like 6. But I don't really play games for graphics or I don't know, content. No, not content. Graphics. I love a game for its imagination, its difference. That's what gets me into a game. So Medieval, for that reason, was just fantastic because it was just something so different compared to the norm. I mean, I've got a Medieval Minecraft picture because that's my Minecraft skin. Shut up, I'm not sad. And I've also got a little picture of Sir Daniel Fortescue as well, who's the knight in it. I'm not sad. I swear, I've got a life. I think that's it. Yeah, I also bought Medieval 2 because that was a brilliant game. And seriously, if you have got a PS1 or a PS1 emulator, buy that game. It's bloody brilliant, and it's well worth the money as well because it's very cheap now because it was in '98. The first racing game I ever had wasn't Formula 1, although I do have the original Formula 1 from 1996, which is like shit but brilliant at the same time. The first racing game I played was a game called Wipeout. It's like anti-gravity ships that destroy each other on really, really, really tricky tracks. So it's like you've always got to be like, it's essentially like a difficult F1 game. The tracks are really tight, they turn at random intervals, and that got me into racing a lot because it was so hard. There was some tracks in there, man, where it was like you were going around a blind right-hander at 200 miles an hour and you had to guess the braking point perfectly. Ridiculous. Oh my god, why have you got so many questions? What do you think is Nebula's future? That's a hard one. Because the thing is, with Nebula, I don't really... It's never been a case of me always making the decision. Right? I hate to do that. I hate to just like leave everyone completely out of the know and go off on a tangent and make a rule myself. That's bollocks. That's not what you should be doing if you are in charge. You should always consult other people. Because that was what Pixel's problem was, right? Pixel was the guy who used to run this league before I took over. Pixel would just go off on a massive tangent. I'm not trying to have a go at Pixel, right? Because he's apologised for everything he's done, and that's all he can really ever ask of someone. But he used to go off on this mad tangent and just make up his own rules, despite the fact that everyone else would say no and say this is a stupid idea, blah blah blah. I've got no examples, sorry. It's that far away ago that I can't remember. But he would go off, make a rule, and everyone would come back and say, this is the dumbest idea ever, what the hell are you thinking? And he'd go, no, it's happening, I say it, blah blah blah. And then 2 days later, he'd realise that it was a massive mistake and wonder why everyone was hating against it, and it's because he just didn't consult anyone, he just went off on himself. So if I ever make a decision, it's not just the head admins that get an opinion in this either. I want the drivers to have a say. Like, ultimately, if you're racing this league, my league, and you have something to tell us, just say it. You're not going to get any stick for saying what you have an opinion on, and ultimately that could actually lead to a better future for us, shall we say. I mean, as the specific, there isn't really much I want to do with Nebula, because Grid Autosport's going okay, I guess. We've expanded quite a lot on that. As for F1, I don't think we can really think of a future in that until the game improves. Because then I think, we had 5 leagues set out, like F1 all the way down to GP5 for F1 2014. And obviously people just played the game and thought, this is shit, and quit. And said they'll be back for like Season 5, for example. So, until 2015 is any good, there's no chance. There's absolutely no chance. But the games I really want to move on to, though, because I don't want it to just be racing, really. I mean, as for racing games, though, if you don't want to take that into account, I would love to see a NASCAR league, because I think that could actually grow quite big. I'd love to see a MotoGP league. If F1 2015 is good, we'll be having probably about 8 splits on that. Cause the way that their F1 2014 filled up before everyone found out thought the game was shit and quit, that could honestly be possible. Because more people don't want to buy 2015 if it's any good. What else? Probably want to see a Formula Fusion. That's by the ex-Wipeout developers. I don't think we'll actually have that many, though. I think that'll be a 1 league only. I just don't see that becoming big. What else? I've said before that since I don't want this to be just a racing league, I'd rather it be just a massive community. I've thought of like maybe a Battlefield 5 kind of thing, because I think that'll be the right place to start. Like, if we just find the right people, we can start a Battlefield 5 league. I think that'll be a good idea. Having like, I don't know, 6 versus 6 on a certain map. Winner gets X amount of points, blah blah blah, draw, blah blah, etc. So I think that'll be a good idea, because it's just something different. I've been thinking at least of setting up maybe the new Star Wars Battlefront game. I'd love to set up a league in that. I think that'd be a great idea. Get loads of clans in together and sort of fight each other out. That would be good. But I don't even know what they're at in the Battlefront. But yeah, I think that's really it for now. Like, Project Cars is obviously a massive one as well. My driving style, that's a hard one. I'm more foot to the floor, really. Yeah, I don't like to sort of, go slow through corners. I like to go very fast. That's really it. I like to hoof it. That's about the best way to do it. Okay. 2 more questions left. Favourite F1 driver from Cab? Oh, that's hard. Gotta be Button. Yeah. I've got some very... There are some drivers out there who I feel are very, very underrated. Like, they've had such a shit career because of the cars rather than the talent. Like, there's one driver I've always checked up upon called Luca Badoer, right? For me, probably one of the most unlucky drivers on the history of the planet. He joined in 1993, and he had a Benetton drive, but unfortunately his car broke down in tests, and they didn't look at his times anymore, which is a bit one-sided. So he got stuck with this team called BMS Scuderia Italia. It went bankrupt by 8 races in. He managed to get 7th in it though in San Marino, which I thought was quite impressive. This is obviously before the top 10 scored points. It was actually when the top 6 scored points. That's how far away that was. So he managed to get a Minardi test seat, and obviously Minardi, not exactly quick, gets the top drive for 1995, and he outperforms his more experienced teammate Michele Alboreto every single race. He always outqualified him, and in the races where he didn't break down, he always finished ahead of him. And Alboreto had been in the championship since early 80s, so something like that. Anyway, so yeah, and I thought, because my dad was also a fan of him because he knew how unlucky he used to be, he would get a decent drive for 1996. Instead, he got stuck with 40, which was also known as something called the yellow roadblock. Now, pre-qualifying had just been implemented in the season at that time, and as usual with 40, they didn't make it, but he did manage to park it through a couple of races, which he did well at, but still, he never scored a point. It got to 1999, and he was running in 4th at Europe, and I remember watching this as a kid, and he was 4th in a Minardi, which is quite an achievement, because he'd absolutely just like drove like the wind, and his car broke down with 13 laps remaining, and he was basically just sat at the side of his car bubbling his eyes out, poor fucker. Because honestly, he would have got 4th winning Minardi, which would have been like incredible. And Marc Gené went on, his teammate, to score a point because of Badoer's breakdown. That was a bit shit. And then after that, he came back after 10 years away almost. He'd only been a test driver, and you might actually remember this. It was 2009. Badoer was in the car for Spa and Valencia. Now, bearing in mind, Badoer had never driven Valencia at all, and he'd never driven this car, and he was only, I think it was just over a second off, which, to be frank, to have not raced in nearly 10 years, not driven the car at all, and not raced at the track, that's a pretty impressive feat. I'm not going to lie, I thought that was really impressive. And sure enough, he unfortunately just didn't have any race pace, and the media slated him. Comes back at Spa, and he just, since he wasn't really just used to the car, he spun out in Q1 when he was actually up, and he was going to make it out of Q1, which would have been impressive for him again. Made a small mistake, and his car slid into the wall, and then the media slated him again. And then Fisichella, who had obviously just scored a second at Spa in the Force India, got into the Ferrari, and everyone was laughing at Badoer and making names of his pun, going, "Look how bad you are," etc. And Fisichella didn't score a single point in the Ferrari that season. It just shows how shit that car was. But yeah, Badoer retired with a record of 50 races without a point, all because he'd driven in appallingly bad cars. But to put in a testament of how good he actually was behind the wheel, he won that Formula 3000 championship, beating Coulthard, Panis, Hakkinen, the likes. So it's between Badoer and Button. Lex Unio, this is the final question. Why is my laugh so funny? Thanks for that. Yeah. My laugh, I don't know. It's not so I can really answer. It's just the way it is, I guess. I don't know. It's a funny laugh because it's funny. Wow, that was a really shit way to end this. So yeah, this is my voice for any of you who are asking, because a few people are actually wondering what I actually sound like properly without a game in the background, because I'm not very good at setting stuff up. So usually the game sounds louder than my voice. Apologies, I'm not good at technology. I'm a complete retard at it. So yeah. So this has been my 69 subscriber video. Get used to it. Bye.